In today's Foam Drawing Friday exercise, we're going to work with the mushroom shape again. So we're going to draw a release and a bind, a release, bind, release, and a bind, a release, and a bind, a release. So here we have the coming in to finish the release, and then we bind here, and then we release in the long part at the top of the mushroom form, and then we bind in the short part and we release in the long part, and then we bind in the short part, release in the long part, bind in the short part, release in the long part, bind, release, bind, and release again. And this line is actually a line I would suggest that you practice doing in reverse as well, because when we're going to do the intersecting line going back the way, it's the same line. So, but we're doing a loop around to do it. So we're going to do the same line, but going in the reverse. So here we have the release and the bind, release, bind, release, bind, release, bind, release. And the reason that I suggest you practice the going back the way is because, well, certainly for me, this has been a challenging line to work with. So I think that, you know, it might be a good thing for you if you work with practicing going in both directions before you try and intersect the two lines. So when you want to intersect the line, we can maybe start with just doing the two tops. Then it would look something like this. So here we're doing the line going from left to right, and then we're looping around and going in to create our same line but in reverse, the same line. So we're creating the mushroom shapes and looping around at the end. Now what this gives us, I should maybe draw this up with the blue and red crayon the way that I have done previously, so you can see where you're coming from. So you start off with your line, creating two mushroom shapes. Of course you can make, if you're finding this is really easy for you, you can make more of these blue mushroom shapes continuing on your page, then going back the way, intersecting your first line. I'm going to draw that with the red so you can see what's going on. And then you come into the loop at the end. So here you have, here in fact you have just a half mushroom shape at one end, half mushroom shape at the other, and a full kind of mushroom shape in the middle when you're reversing the line. Now in the book there's a suggestion for creating another shape, and I think it would maybe be helpful to actually try and practice that shape, because what we're doing here is really working with the bind is now sort of in the horizontal, as opposed to when we've previously worked in previous videos, this bind, where it's intersecting, has been sort of sitting in the vertical. Now it's lying down, it's horizontal instead. So the book also suggests that there is another exercise you can do, and I actually think it might be helpful practicing that shape before you even start trying to intersect these two lines. It's taken me a while, and as you can see, this still isn't perfectly harmonious for me. There's a lot more work I could do with this, but you basically you draw a shape that looks like this. So effectively, and you can, as I've said in some of the previous videos, you can go over your lines and adjust them as you see fit. You basically want to create your bind. So here we have, it's the same bind here, it's just looping round at either end straight away. So here you can see again my bind, the two binds that are intersecting each other are not perfectly harmonious either. I could do a lot more work here as well to try and get them looking more harmonious so that the ends are kind of, equal to each other and look beautiful. And the same with the other side here. So, but it's always a case of feeling the rhythm first, and then, trying to work on creating the form. So here, you would go release and then bind in the short part, and then you release again here, and then you bind. So you're basically binding in the short inside part here. That's where you're slowing down when you're doing your, or maybe a little bit towards the top because we're going up the way here, and then you're slowing down here and speeding up here, and then you're slowing down and speeding up. So then this becomes harmonious as well. You can also do this shape actually standing up. So then that would look something like this. And as you can see, mine needs quite a bit more work here. So I go over it, just go over it again and again until I feel, yeah, now we're more. I'm also drawing this a little bit to the side of myself. I would suggest that you always try and draw the thing that you're drawing in front of yourself should be in line with yourself. So this is, I'm kind of drawing this to my right. So that's also my good excuse for why it's a bit skewed and not looking very harmonious. But it's just a bad excuse really for me. So I hope that this has inspired you. I did, when I tried to draw this shape initially, a very long time ago, I did find that it was helpful actually drawing it vertically rather than horizontally. But you can try it out and see how you feel. And then once you get to do your intersecting line, you might find that having actually done this will help you when you come to do your two lines going one first in one direction and then the intersecting line going back the way. So that's all for this week's Form Drawing Friday. I'll see you next week with a new exercise.